with this beautiful giant Adenium obesum desert rose plant, and it's just in full flower. It's really happy he got it from a nursery outside of town in Sweeney, Texas. And the only thing is, and I was like, oh no, baby, I just of course feeling around on the caudex, and there was this, I don't know exactly what that is, some kind of thin bark, and I moved it away, and there's a lot of rot going on down in there. There are some roots coming through it. Can you see that? So, and this beast is literally growing out of the bottom of the pot. Show you. I can't lift it with one hand, and I'm holding the camera in the other. So not only are we gonna have to cut it out of the pot, I'm going to need to try. I'm gonna pull it all out, get all the dirt off of it, and see how bad the rot is. And again, this is obviously old damage, or from whatever, I don't know what caused it, but the rest of the plant is obviously happy enough to be flowering, like epic flowers all on every branch, so there's hope for it. So what I'm gonna do is find something to put over the spot that's exposed, over the rot. I have some sulfur powder. We'll probably start with that and leave it unpotted for a while, just kind of observe it, and then take it from there. Always gonna be a lot of work, but I think it's gonna be worth it. See that? You're gonna have to cut around and then cut out this big old root right here. It's part of the main caudex, and the cool thing is I'm pretty sure like most of what's going on down in here is going to be caudex. So let's work on getting this out without hurting it anymore. Little X-Acto knife, I don't know if it's going to do the job, but we'll see. We'll try. This is no joke. Alright. Maybe I can get it out. There. Let's open this up a little more. Alright. Yeah, I think it's coming. Okay. Oh, freedom! Wow. Check that out. Look at this beast. Very, very beautiful. So let me go ahead and grab my sulfur powder, and I'll just show you. We're literally just putting some of the powder on the spot, right around here, and then around the base. Here we are. Got our old handy blush brush, and I'm just gonna actually tap some of the sulfur powder out into the lid. Get some on the brush. Okay. Just get to dabbing. Get it all in there. Hey. Cooperate. I'm actually really relieved. I was really worried when I first saw that just the literal cave in where I touched it. I was like, oh my gosh, how deep does this go? I need to trim this little piece up right here. Wouldn't hurt for me to come back and reapply more tomorrow, over the next couple of days, or really just as long as it's out of the pot and easy for me to get to. So put some down here. I got nicked a little bit. Honestly, I thought this was gonna be a lot harder to get it out. I mean, it wasn't easy, but it kind of came out easily once I got that hole big enough. So okay, that's it for now, and I'm gonna go wash my hands because sulfur powder smells like sulfur, and almost just smelled my hand. I'm going to resist, but I have to go wash it before I forget. Alright, that's part 1. Part 2 will be potting it up. But I gotta get a pot for it first. Story of my life. Alright, round 2, fight. We got a pot for this guy. I'll show you real quick. I've been playing around to see like how is it gonna be positioned, but because of the way the caudex is naturally lying, it's just going to have to be offset, like off to the side. So I'm not gonna be able to make it go straight up and down. So it's gonna take a little. It's going to be a little bit tricky, but I think I found the nice position to at least start it out in. So I'm going to just slide it in, see. So I want it to be able to balance enough on its own, and we're not burying all of this under the soil. A lot of it's going to still be exposed, but to stabilize it until we get these roots established, and after we get the soil in, I still want to wait, like, I want to give it some time before I water it again, because it's definitely been through a lot, and there's still going to be some broken roots and stuff, and I think it's going to be a little stressed. I've got some big rocks. It's going to make it heavy, but I'm going to have a lot of drainage materials in the soil, so hopefully that'll balance it out a little bit. And I'm going to put it down, just start putting them down in this negative space, so the plant itself, it's going to have a little bit of like stabilization under there. Loud kids in the background screaming like it's Friday after school, because it is. Okay, so right now all I have in there, I have a little layer of soil and some of these rocks, and I think it's okay so far. Yeah, let's have a look over here. So that's what we're looking at, and then the rocks are, oops, sorry, down under there. This, I just apologize to the plant, don't we all? And I guess I could have gone a little bit bigger on the pot, but didn't want to, because my husband really wanted a glazed pot. He likes the look of it, and of course glazed ceramic takes a lot longer to dry out than unglazed clay terracotta. So what I'm going to do now is start, sorry, there we go. What I'm going to do now is start, filling it up with some, let's start with this expanded shale. It's going to give us some weight around the bottom. Let's do a little some of that. And then I'm actually going to reuse some of the soil that the plant came in, so I'm going to grab that and be right back. I like to reuse soil when I can, because I think that the plant finds it, it's familiar and safe, it smells like home. And also, good soil is not cheap, it's definitely not free, and this one already had a bunch of drainage materials in it, so might as well put it to good use for filling up this pot. And I'm sorry, I added some turfish. I'll probably use some more. I'm going to add some pumice and help lighten up the pot, help that soil dry out faster. Give it a good mix. I'm just going to start filling up.
feels stable, but one wrong move and the whole plant could fall out at this point. Be very careful. And I've noticed when I make these videos, sometimes I'm like turning the pots and stuff, and it makes like a terrible grinding sound because there's rocks or sand underneath. So I put it in this bin to hopefully prevent that from happening, and it kind of helps if you're spilling stuff everywhere like I do sometimes. Kind of keep it all in one place so you can just dump it right back into your main bin. Alright, so let's give her a turn, and let's see if you can see what I'm seeing. So right here, there's like this gap. That's where the rotted spot was, and it, you know, it's again, it's putting out roots like from there. So it's definitely recovered, at least partially, from whatever was going on with it. And I just want to be able to see it. And, you know, we might even make it a focal point because it is interesting, and eventually these roots will come down and be a lot bigger. Then there's going to be this interesting negative space. And that's always cool in a caudex, right? Kind of have like a little, it's like a cave or something. Alright. Like this little piece right here, these little funny roots. I'm going to just trim those. They're not going to really do much for the plant. And I'm going to trim some of this off too, over here on the side. And they don't feel very, they're kind of dried. Not fully dry, but really not worth it. Alright. Cool. Now we need to add more soil for sure. Okay. Alright, well, this is pretty full. I'm not going to fill it all like much further than this. I just want to make sure it feels pretty stable. I've got those rocks down in the backside. I just want to make sure they're not going anywhere when it moves. Alright, that feels good. I'm wondering if I should go ahead and put a top dressing. And I think I will. I think I'm going to go ahead and put, let's just use more expanded shale. It's nice. Cheap, easy to find. And a nice finishing look. There we go. Just right amount. I love that. Now pumice makes a beautiful white top dressing, but I've found that you know, eventually it's going to wake up the colors of the soil and turn brown. Then you have to replace it and all that. So we're going to just stick with this expanded shale. Okay, let's pull back and have a look. Okay, that's pretty awesome. I have another Adenium to pot up in a very similar pot that my husband also picked out, so I don't advise glazed pots for caudex plants, for most succulents, particularly because the climate where we are is so humid. If you're somewhere where it's dry, more arid, doesn't rain as often, you know, go for it. You know, you actually want your soil to retain moisture for longer, but here we have the opposite problem. A lot of times it doesn't dry out fast enough. So yes. All right, one down.